Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Science Query. I am your host Dr. Asha, and in this video I am going to talk about types of chemical reactions. So far we have already learnt about chemical reactions in our previous video. In short, in a chemical reaction, different elements combine to form product or products. Chemical reaction involves the breaking and making of bonds between the atoms of the element to produce a new substance. Here the atoms of element 1 interacts with the atoms of element 2 to form the substrate. Let us take an example of HCl reaction. Here the atoms of hydrogen element interact with the atoms of chlorine element to form hydrogen chloride as a substrate. Now next, let us see the types of chemical reactions. Based on the type of bond formation, the chemical reactions are further divided into combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, and oxidation and reduction reactions. Let us first see in detail about the combination reaction. In a combination reaction, a single product is formed from two or more reactants. For example, water in a beaker, when reacts with calcium oxide, it produces calcium hydroxide or slaked lime. In this reaction, calcium oxide and water combines to form a single product called the calcium hydroxide. Such a reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactants is known as a combination reaction. This is an exothermic reaction where heat is produced. Combination reactions are of two types, exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Other example of combination reactions are the burning of coal, where carbon react with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Another example of the combination reaction is the formation of water, where hydrogen elements combine with oxygen element to form water or H2O. Next type of reaction is the decomposition reaction. As the word itself describes, a decomposition reaction is the reaction where a single reactant breaks down to give a simpler product. For example, ferrous sulfate crystal lose water when heated and the color of the crystal changes. It then decomposes to ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. This ferric oxide is a solid, while sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxides are gases. Another example is the decomposition of calcium carbonate on heating to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. It is an important decomposition reaction used in various industries. Calcium oxide is called lime or quicklime. It has many uses like in the manufacture of cement. Another example of decomposition reaction is the reaction of silver bromide when exposed to the sunlight. It gets decomposed into silver and bromide. This reaction of silver bromide decomposed into silver and bromide is used in the black and white photography. Another important example of decomposition reaction is the reaction of silver chloride. Silver chloride again when exposed to sunlight breaks down into silver and chlorine. Next important reaction is the displacement reaction. In the displacement reaction, one element displaces the other element. When an iron nail is dipped into copper sulfate solution, the nail becomes brownish in color and the blue color of copper sulfate solution fades. This is because the iron has displaced or removed another element copper from the copper sulfate solution. This reaction is known as the displacement reaction. Other examples of displacement reaction are the reaction between zinc and copper sulfate solution. Here again, the zinc when react with copper sulfate solution, the zinc displaces the copper from the copper sulfate solution and it becomes zinc sulfate. Now the next type of chemical reaction is the double displacement reaction. Let us take an example of sodium sulfate react with barium chloride. Here the reactant sodium sulfate and barium chloride react with each other to form barium sulfate and sodium chloride. The sulfate of the sodium displaced by the chlorine of the barium and the chlorine of the barium get displaced by the surface of the sodium. So the chlorine and sodium elements of this reaction swipe the places with each other and a white precipitation of barium sulfate is formed. Now the next and the last type of reaction is the oxidation and reduction reactions. Oxidation and reduction reaction is the process of adding or removing oxygen from the substrate. Let us see with an example of the reaction of copper and oxygen. When copper reacts with oxygen, it becomes coated with black copper oxide. This copper oxide is because of the oxygen is added to copper and the copper oxide is formed. Again, if hydrogen gas is passed over this heated material of copper oxide, the black coating on the surface turns brown as the reverse reaction takes place and the copper is obtained. If a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized, and if a substance loses oxygen during the reaction, it is said to be reduced. During this reaction, the copper oxide is losing oxygen and is being reduced. The hydrogen is gaining oxygen and is being oxidized. In other words, one reactant gets oxidized while the other gets reduced during the reaction. Such reactions are called oxidation-reduction reaction or redox reaction. Well, that is all about chemical reactions and its various types. If you like my video, then please subscribe my channel Science Query and please like, share and comment. Thank you.